1. Okay, now we're live. So we're going to go line by line through the different things. I put in my notes here. And we're going to start right here at the blue, 406. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring this up. All right, so quick look at this property. It's a big, nice square lot. Now here's something to make note of. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Geez, you think I would figure this out? I will get this right. Okay, here we go. So, big square lot. Okay, some clearing in the middle. It does appear as though there is a property. So Land Insights does this cool thing. Property, there's a house or some type of structure. Now this is a 20-acre property. This looks like a relatively small structure. So it could possibly be a shed, or it could, and the thing that kind of sways me in that direction is this property address doesn't have a number. So typically when there's a house and it's somebody's place of residence, they'll have an actual number associated with the property address. But this is still pretty general. So there's a chance that this person is using this property for whatever reason and they built like a little shed back here. But I think the biggest takeaway from this is, even though, let's just assume that this is an actual home, somebody lives on this land, there is still so much land here that they could potentially sell off to us. So in the event that this is a home, we might still approach them and say, we like your 20-acre property, we want to purchase it. The seller calls us back and says, I live on that land. Well, then we can come back to them and say, would you be interested in selling off half of your land, 10 acres to us? And then if they gave us 10 acres, we can easily split that into 2 5-acre lots. So it's not always a deal breaker when you see a structure, especially in this instance because there's no specific address for the property. So going in and looking at this particular property, you priced the 20-acre lot at roughly 4,000 acres or an $80,000 retail price. You estimated that you could potentially break it up into 3 new lots, and if so, it would be worth double that, or 160,000. I said, good job on the sub number. I think it'll be a little bit unique, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. But road frontage on this particular property can be a little misleading. So you could also go with 2 as well. So what do I mean by that? So it looks like this entire property has road frontage. But if I were to click here, I would see that almost up 2/3 of this Hoover Road, actually the road frontage belongs to this property. Okay, so anytime there's a little bit of a sliver, so if I click a little bit of a gap between this and that, I want to click on that just to see if it belongs to anyone. Now sometimes as you're looking at land, there's a little bit of a gap because Land Insights didn't put the property line right up next to the road, but if you click on it, it doesn't highlight another parcel. And when that happens, that indicates to me that that doesn't belong to anyone, so therefore that property in question does have access to the road as it's shown on the screen. Does that make sense? Yeah, so it's a little tricky. It's one of those things, just double check the road frontage. But knowing now that this person owns all of this, that means there's only this much left road frontage for this property. Now you said 3 lots. And I agree with you. So the first lot will be an easy rectangle, right? We could probably run one right here. And that would leave probably just this much left. but you can tease off 2 more lots. They're just going to be a little bit different shape, right? So you can make somewhat of like a triangle lot here and then kind of run to the far corner here. So I still think 3 lots is a good option. So if we were to comp this property, there are no comps. So this is the one that I ended up going and removing and figured we would go through it together. So it's a 20-acre property. Just double checking. So sold comps, for whatever reason, it's saying 80 to 500. But we're going to do 15 to 25. Sold comps. Distance. Okay, so we have a lot of great options here to pull from. So this is 20 acres, 17, 17, 20, 18. So right all around in that range that we're looking for. And before we even look at the specific properties, you can see that this property in question is probably going to sell, well, if we're just looking at the sold, between $3,000 and $5,000 per acre. So on the high end, it would be $100,000. On the low end, it would be $60,000. So that $80,000 target in the middle is probably what we're looking for. But let's just quickly look at these, make sure that they're good. Nothing about this concerns me. No extreme features, so we'll use that. Again, I'm fine with using this comp, even though it's a little bit different because of the road access and that it's mostly wooded. That's the same one. Let's click on this one. Again, maybe a little bit of clearing, maybe not, but it's definitely wooded. So we'll use this one as well. So if we just went based off those 3, hold on one second. Nope, I grabbed the wrong one to comp. That's why. That's my mistake. Let me start over. My mistake. Okay. So we liked this one, we liked this one, and we liked this one. And your comps for the subdivide were in there. So actually, if I delete these really quick, so if we divided 20 acres into 3 separate lots, we're going to get that 7 acre, roughly 7 acre. Now, if we went and looked real quick, let's go between 5 and 9. Wasn't a whole lot. Actually, I don't really like 5. I prefer 6. Okay, so now our price per acre point on the high end is going to be around 9,300, and on the low end will be around 5,900. But this is about 12 miles away, and you went up to 11. So these, I think, would be good comps. If I pulled these other ones, so your retail value would be 170. As you picked it, those are your comps. I think, quickly looking, a little bit of clearance. We'll throw that one in there just to get a couple more. And then you have the 91, 93. Is there any other one? No. Okay, so that didn't really change it much. So we could say 180, 170, somewhere between that, 175. Now when we go back and look, you said 160. So I'm okay with that. I like 160. I don't have an issue with that at all. So I think that this was a really good job, right? A little bit of a different little nuance feature with that property, and you navigated extremely well. Let's go ahead and look at this one. Okay. So this is another pretty good property. Ample road frontage. Looking at the area, this is a smaller lot, not a lot of road frontage. This is a little bit bigger lot. A lot of the lots around there look like they're bigger in size. We might want to reproduce maybe a lot that kind of looks similar to that. So I would probably draw a line here across, and they would have ample room here, 20 acres. That gives them probably 6 or 7 acres. And then I would split the remainder in half, and I would create 3 lots there. And that's what you had, 3 lots. Very well done. So let's go ahead and price this. Okay, so this is where I was a bit confused, and I'll tell you why. This lot is 20 acres. If we were to create 3 new lots like you suggested, that would be around 6 to 7 acres per lot. And I think you know where I'm going with this. Your comps were 2 to 3 acres in size.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so just a little bit of an oversight there, right? So just double check before. What'd you say?
Maybe I refer to distance.
Yep, that's okay. That happens. It's not a big deal. I'm not, my expectations right now are that this is going to happen, and we'll just talk through all the different ways we might goof up. I still goof up, right? And it's my business, and I still make mistakes. So I'm never going to be upset at the mistakes that you make, especially in the beginning, right? I prefer you to make all of them so that you can draw experience from them. So needless to say, these price per acre points are going to be much higher than what our 6 or 7 acre lots would go for. So we want to get rid of these. Actually, I wanted to. So your comp number I think was 190. And then when I went into it, you wrote down 85. So that was the discrepancy that was kind of throwing me off, is based on the comps that you made, the landed site told you it was around 180 to 190, but you wrote in 85. Do you remember what might have happened with that particular one?
Not sure.
Okay. Okay, so what did I even bother to write in here for notes? This is annoying me. I don't know what the heck's going on. Okay. My notes would subdivide into 3 lots, so your comp prices should reflect a 7-acre range, but the comps you chose are 2 to 3 acres, and the new value is 185. Still, you wrote 85. So perhaps you wrote. I'm not really sure what happened, and I guess that's not even really the point. Again, just double check before you move on that you feel pretty comfortable and that the new price in land and sites that's computed is reflected accurately in the price that you write down. So we're going to go through this one and give it a go again, and we're going to see what happens. So I think I already put it in here. So if we got rid of this, let's start with comping the actual property. So if it's 20 acres, what's our acreage band?
15 to 25. Maybe.
Yep. Distance. Okay. So we'll use this one. This one is priced high. Don't like it. It's cleared. Don't like it. It's 2. Don't like it. It's 3. Same one. Okay, I like that one. This one's 49. I think this is going to be our high range. Yep. I don't see. Well, there's one that's 6. So let's see what that one looks like. That's the creek. We're going to stay away from that one, even though we include it for a couple. Okay, that kind of gets us in that right acreage band. So between these prices, we come to a 4,000 per acre price. So 80,000. Boom. Well, no, sorry, 100,000. So I think if I were to grab the one yesterday that we used quite a bit, the one with the water feature, if I added that, that brings us up to 90. Again, I still think that's probably on the high side. I would be okay with 90, but I do think 100 is a little too. You know, you have this 41 and 49 sort of in the middle, and then you've got a low price breaker point sort of anchors the bottom value of that acreage band in that area, and then you have the high side. So even if I remove these two, you probably would get this. So why don't I just do that to reflect that? Yeah, so that 300, it probably, you didn't grab that one. But if I get,
Is it
yeah, go.
necessary that in PPA I should select like a lower price, and then we also have like a high price just to meet the middle like that?
Mm-hmm.
So
If the comps call for it, don't just put in a higher price just for the sake of doing it, but kind of taking a step back and conceptualizing what we're talking about. We know best case scenario, we can get 6,100 for it. Worst case scenario, we're going to get 3,000. So if we include both of those, and we're probably going to hit that sweet spot that's right in the middle of what's most likely the price that it's going to sell at, right? So if I got rid of this, that brings me down to 90. So I think 90 is probably the right number there. Again, when we're talking about this, that's the difference between 90 and 100 is we're offering 45 or 50 because it's half of that. So at the end of the day, we're talking about $5,000. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it still proves, it still bears repeating how important it is to accurately price land. But you do have like a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm going to just go ahead and put this at 90,000. I feel good about that. And then again, this price is lower than that price, and that should never happen. So we're going to see where we might have goofed up there. So we know that we're going to divide a 20-acre lot into 3. So it's going to be just under 7 acres each. So let's try 6 to 8 and see what we get. Okay, we got a good amount of comps. So let's go ahead and see what we got. This one's kind of cleared, and it does look like it has creek access. It has a pond. So I don't like that because, again, we know that that pond water feature is going to drive up the price. So we're going to skip that. Okay, so 91 is probably, if we settle on a number that's around 9,000 an acre, it's going to be too high of a price. So let's look at this one, 7,000. So this one's got a lot of road frontage and it's cleared. So this lot's actually a little bit better than our one in question. It's just one property, but that 7,000 might be the high range. Let's see if we can grab a couple. Okay, a lot of road frontage, which is certainly good, but it's wooded, right? So I think we can grab this one. This one sold for a lot. Let's see why. Clear. Okay, so the owner is willing to split the lots. So it sold for 65,000. This actually went up. It has sewer. That's why it's valued so high. Sewer's a game changer. It's like having cleared land. If you can have cleared land and or sewer, your value is going to be so much higher, right? Because sewer means you don't need to go through the process and the hassle of applying for and hoping for an improved perk test and all of the money that comes with that. There's sewer already available, so you just tap into the sewer. So this is going to be on the too expensive for us. So we know it's not going to be in the 9,000 range. I'll grab this 7,001. I think it is cleared. Let me just make sure there's no sewer. So it doesn't even have water. So that we can take this one. It's no water, no sewer. We can add that. So between those two comps, I get 131,000. So my new price per acre point average is 6,500 between these two. So we'll call it 130. So that's going to be above the 90. So we're going to offer between 45 and 65 for this property. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And stop me if you have any questions. Okay. What stands out to you about this property? Talk me through your first initial reaction when you see this one pop up.
It's actually good because it's a wide frontage, plus there are areas only that wooded, so that's why.
Okay. So it's,
Some areas are cleared, some areas are wooded.
yep. It's got cleared land. We like that. It's got pretty good road frontage.
It has a pond.
It does look like there's a little
It
water
has,
feature there. Yeah. See if I can get rid of this layer. No, it looks like it's just wetlands. So somebody did a survey and deemed that this area of the property is unbuildable because the soil or it retains too much water. So there's actually no physical pond there. But they wouldn't be able to build a house there. But that's fine because it's a big property, so you can build a house somewhere else. So you said 4 lots. You could build 4 lots. So walk me through those 4 lots. How would you go about getting 4?
I'll make a very small driveway here on the left side, so that it can occupy the other lot. Yeah, that's lot, and
Okay.
then 1, 2, and maybe, or maybe I can subdivide them by 3.
Yeah. If I guess a good rule of thumb is if you're like really trying hard to get an extra lot, again, always be conservative. Just say, you know what, maybe there's an opportunity to get 4th and we can get a little creative. But for the purpose of just sending out the mail, let's just be conservative. I think you could probably get 3. I agree with you. Little driveway here and then tease this off and then split the remainder in half. Now you got 3. So we're going to add subtract 1, add 3. Okay, so when we comp this, your new value is 153. It is 20.8 acres. So even with the going from 4 to 3, you still chose an acreage band that makes sense for a 3-lot subdivision because it's roughly 6.5, almost 7 acres each lot. So I'm good with this. You've kind of got some good, you got a high end, you got a low end, you got one right in the middle. So let's just take a peek at these and see. So I'm willing to bet you chose this one because we thought that there was a pond on the property. I don't hate using this as a comp, truthfully, especially because you chose a comp on the low end. But let's get rid of this and see what it does to our price. Yeah, so we lost about 20,000. Let's go ahead and look at this one. Yep, I like this one. Road frontage, but it's not cleared like ours is. Yep, I like that one too. So actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna go back to that comp that, where was that comp that, oh, I gotta,
Mhm.
there's some ones that are really close by. What's this one? Cleared. Our property has some clearing. That's gonna be a good comp. And then I think it was this one. I had the pond on it. Yeah. So it's a little bit cleared. We can anchor the top end of the market with this. I'm okay using that. So that brings us back up. We'll call it 150. That's exactly where you are. Great job. Great job. So now let's get rid of this. And then let's value the land. So 20 acres, we know we're going to be in that 15 to 25 acreage band. There's not a lot in the area, so that stinks a little bit. So you can either just decide, you know what, I'm just going to roll with what I got. Or you might play around with this a little bit. See if you can't find something a little bit closer. We can add a little bit here. Okay, I grabbed one there. If I go a little bit more. Okay, it didn't really do much for me. So let's look at what these properties sold at. A little bit of clearing in the back. It's got road frontage, a little bit of wetlands. It's nice when there's an actual listing, right? It's not just one paper or one page. So you can kind of look at the lot a little bit more. There is a power utility pole in this property, which is, you know, probably drives the price down a little bit because it's an eyesore. But we'll use it. So that's at the 4,800. Maybe that's the bottom of our market. And we'll look at this one. This one's cleared. Ours is also cleared. So I would be okay using that one, even though they're like not shaped remotely similar. They both have similar features. I don't want to go much beyond this because we're really starting to get away from the property. But if we grab like this one that's kind of in the middle, okay, we keep seeing this one. It's not a great comp per se, but it would anchor us the other way. So maybe we'll skip that one. What's this one give us? So it's just a little bit smaller, which is why that price went up. I don't want to go any further. Maybe we'll just grab this one and see what that does to the price. So 118, if I got rid of that one, I'm at 125. Okay, so I would price this property at 125 as a flip. 100's okay. It's probably valued a little bit more. You know, now we're offering 62.5 as opposed to 50,000. Now, taking a step back, now we're offering this person 125, or excuse me, $62,000 to $75,000. If we subdivided 3 lots, now I'm just speaking more from the perspective of our business. When Tyler and I get together, we say, okay, we could subdivide this into 3 lots, and we might have a bigger buyer pool for people looking for around 7 acres. But it's a lot of work for 25,000 extra dollars, right? So we might be more inclined. We could do a number of different things. We might just say, you know what, it's too much work for not a lot more to gain. We might just sell it as one big lot. Or what we can do is we can tell the realtor, make listings for 3 separate 7-acre lots, but then also make a listing for a 20-acre lot. So now we're attracting both the buyers that are looking for smaller lots and then somebody who's interested in only 20 acres. So that, from our perspective, when we see something like that, we'll probably do both because the spread isn't that great. Okay, I also liked how you're able to put your notes in here. That was really helpful. I actually don't know how to do that, so you can teach me when we're done.
Yeah, you can just click and insert a note. Wait. Wait.
Oh, it's probably because you already have a note in there. Maybe if I check one, it doesn't. Insert note.
Yep, insert note.
Oh, very cool. Thank you for teaching me something. Okay, so I highlighted this one in red. Let's look at why. Oh, you caught this. It sold a month ago. So when I pull my data, one of the things that I do is I don't pull data that's sold within the last 5 years. And the reason I do that is because I want to mail to people that have just kind of been sitting on this land for a good deal of time. When somebody buys land, they don't always break ground right away the next day to build. Maybe it takes them a year or two, sometimes even as high as 3 or 4. I know at 5 years, they've had ample time to do something with it. And in that 5 year span, life happens, right? Somebody could get sick. Somebody could go through a divorce. Somebody could get a new job and just move to the other side of the country. Sometimes somebody is, the deed or the ownership of the property is transferred to a child when the person that owns it passes away. So David Freeman might be a gentleman who passed away, and the owner of it, and you would only know this by looking at the deed, the owner of it is their son, John, we'll call him. And then we'll send in a letter to David, but it'll get reverted to, or diverted to John. And John gets the letter. He's like, yeah, this was addressed to my father, but he passed away 2 years ago. I don't have any need for the land. That's ammunition for us, right? Because he doesn't want the land. He doesn't value it the way that David did. So that's our ability to negotiate on the lower end, because they just want to take some money and go. Now, the flip side to that is, and the reason why this one slipped through the cracks is because it didn't. I pulled this data 3 months ago. So in that 3-month period, this land sold and it's been updated on Land Insights. So the fact that you caught that without us ever talking about it's very impressive. That's a really good detail. So it's a long-winded way to get to, I have no interest in mailing this person because they bought it a month ago. They probably want to do something with the land and they don't want to sell it to us. They also paid $160,000 for it, which would be, without pricing it, it's probably, it's close to the high end of what I think retail is. So I think they overpaid for it, but that's neither here nor there. So at any point, if you ever catch something like that where after going through this that we won't want to purchase it, again, just highlight it in red, just like you did here. Any questions on that?
So, our rule is that I will not reprice those lands that were sold 5 years ago.
That have sold within the last 5 years. And you shouldn't see something that says 3, 4, 2 years ago. Like I said, it'll be 5 years or longer. Like this person purchased this 7 years ago and they haven't done anything with the land. Anything lower than 5 years will be within the last 3 months. Okay, this is a pretty cool property because it's got road frontage on 2 sides. That's awesome. We're licking our chops when we see something like this. There's a little bit of a clearing here. I like to zoom in just to make sure it doesn't look like a house, which it doesn't. It's just kind of an open dirt area. So in looking at it, you suggested that we can make 3 new lots. So how would you make your lots?
Because I just base it from it's nearby areas or nearby lots, and I think 3 is better.
Okay.
And could fit there.
Okay. So I like your reasoning. That's exactly what you want to be looking at. This is 22 acres. This lot is 4. This lot is also 4. I mean, this is a smaller lot. This one is 2, 1, 1, but this one is 12. You know, it's kind of all over the place. I think I would look for any indication that there could be smaller lots, which there's plenty here and here. So when I do this, I want to maximize the amount of lots I can create if the market says that they like lots out there, which this one does. So when you're creating new lots where there's road frontage on 2 sides, what I typically will do is make one big lot, run it all the way to the back. And you can do this a number of different ways, but if I started on Hunter Road, so I'll make one lot just like that. I'd probably make another lot similar to that size. That leaves about this much. And then I could tease lots off this road and this boundary line. So I'll have 1, 2, now I've got this remaining area left. I'll have a square lot here, and then I'll subdivide 1 and then maybe another time. So between 1, 2, 3, 4, let's call it 6. I actually think you can create 6 lots here. And all of those lots are not going to be smaller than these, right? These lots are proof that 2-acre lots sell out here. Right across the street is a 3-acre lot. So if you wanted to go as small as 3. Now, when you're creating these lots, this is going to be a much bigger lot. This is going to be a much bigger lot than the ones that we created over here. But again, we're getting the average when we're choosing. When you take a lot subdivision, let's say we did 6. You divide 22 by 6, and you get a little over, yeah, you get around 3 acres, or 3.5 acres per lot. But these 2 lots are not going to be 3.5 acres. They'll probably be 6. And these, let's call it 4 lots over here, aren't going to be 3 acres. They're probably going to be 2. That's fine. You don't need to go find 2-acre lot comps, and you don't need to go find 6-acre lot comps and then add the 2. You don't need to do that. All you got to do is just take the average. So 22 divided by 6 gives you about 3.5. So we'll look in that 3 to 4 acre range, because your 6-acre price per acres will be the low end, right? Because they're going to be a little bit cheaper than your 2-acre properties. That'll be the high end, and you'll still take the average, which will probably be whatever the price per acre point is for a 3.5 acre lot. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so all we're going to do is take 22 and we'll divide it by 3.5. Or divided by 6, excuse me. So let's go ahead and look here. So you're kind of in that ballpark already. Again, very close proximity, good days on market. You're in that 3.5 acre range, which kind of threw me off because you were suggesting that you can make 3 lots here, which means it should have been in the 7.5 acre range. So I'm not sure how that came to be. Do you remember?
I just assumed that it can be 3. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So just again, this is another example of just making sure you check your work. You're saying it's worth 230. I still haven't deleted your comps, and it says 271. So it's just attention to detail, making sure you're bringing over the right price. So I like this acreage range for the subdivision, because again, this is right around what we would get if we subdivided 6 times. I just want to double check to make sure the comps look good. That does. Yeah, I'm good with that. That's wooded. Yep. Okay, you chose great comps. So 270 would be the high end. So just make sure, like
Because sometimes I also play with the price, just like yesterday.
that's fine.
So
That's fine. Just make note of that. So I know what you're thinking when you do that. I would be okay if you offer 270 because I think it calls for it. If you think it's too big of a gap, like we talked about, and you wanted to bring it down, that's fine. Over here I would say, what is this? August. So I would copy this. No, it's this one. Yeah, I don't see that one in here. So I'd say subdivide retail was 207K, but the range was too large, so I reduced it to 230K. Right? So knowing that that was what you were thinking, that then now I feel better about it. I think when I was looking at it before, I was like, oh, this, not sure where we got 230. So that brings it down to 115, right? So I see what you're thinking. We are going to make this 6. And now let's just comp what the land is as it stands. So it's 22.2 acres. So we'll delete these. We'll go 15 to 25. Okay. So this is on the low end. Oh, I wrote 12, that's why. Silly me. See, I've been making mistakes left and right while we're on this call, so it happens. Okay, so this is pretty close to 22. This one is 22 exactly, so let me grab that one first. Okay, so this is that one that has shared 5 acres of water access with whatever all these other lots that have sold. So this is probably on the high end for a 22-acre property. But again, I still really like this property, and I know that there's money to be made here because has 2 sides of road frontage. So this 22-acre lot sold for just under $5,000. We're going to add that. Let's look at this 19-acre lot that sold for $8,300 an acre. What's so special about this one? Of course, it doesn't let me pull it up. All right. And then yesterday when we were talking about outliers, we're looking for outliers. So we see this one. It's just such an outlier. We know we're not going to grab that one. So then I'll look at this one. 20 acres, wooded. Okay, I like this one. That's the same one. This is on the very low end. Let's see why. Oh, it's that weird shaped lot again. We're going to stay away from that. I don't like that. So then we'll go down here. We'll grab this. Same idea. That price is driven up a little bit because it has that shared lake access. This one's high too. Is it the same thing? Yeah, that lake access is really driving that. Now, we don't have lake access, so that in and of itself should not be considered for as a valuable comp. However, what we do have is road frontage, and we have a lot more road frontage than this property. So there's a little bit of an offset there, right? We don't have the lake access, but we do have the road frontage. And for that reason, I might still grab this comp. So now that puts me at 115,000. Okay. Again, I'm at that 5,200 price per acre average. And that's, your low end is 4,800, your high end's 56, and then you got one that's really in the middle. So I feel pretty confident, even if we end up selling at 5,500 or buying at 5,500 an acre, or we buy it at 5,000 an acre. Like, this is so pinpoint this is the thing that nobody else is doing. I'm telling you, people don't do this. They don't go into the details of it on the front end. Historically, what we did was we were able to get price data from another source just by perusing the MLS before we had the software, and we came up with averages. And that is not, when you take an average, that means that you'll price some of your land correctly, and then on both ends of the spectrum, you'll price them incorrectly. We'll overprice and we'll underprice. When we overprice, we're getting callbacks all the time saying, yeah, I'll sell you my land for this price. Like any fool would be silly not to. And then we go and look at it and we're like, it's not worth that much. And then on the flip side, we see a really nice lot that never called back, and we look at it and we're like, we didn't offer a high enough price. So that's the problem we're solving by going in and doing this on the front end. Okay, so we'll say 115, and you were at 120. So I'm actually good with the 120. We can go a little higher. 120 is good. So now we're offering 60 to 115,000. That is a big gap. So like if we did 270, like it's saying, I could see why you would want to bring that down a little bit. So 230 also brings that price underneath what the retail value is. Exceptional job. That is really, really well done. The only thing to change on that is how many new lots we can get, but still very, very well done. Okay, we're into our first one that we're unsure about. So let's look at this lot and see what's so unique about it. Okay, so what about this lot gives you pause?
It's so weird. It only has like a very small road frontage, and I'm not sure if it's a road. It's like a trail. So
yeah, it says trail.
Although it has some car access, but yeah, that's just weird.
Okay, so yesterday I showed you that you can zoom down here and copy this. There's a faster way to do it. Just go over here and hold on one second. Look something up. Okay, there's a link right here. So if you just click that link, it brings you right to it. So it's a lot easier than copying and pasting. Okay. So if I grab this little guy, can you see him on the screen? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It shows you that it's probably going to be difficult to get to. So for that reason, because it's not a perfectly shaped lot, I don't think I'd mail to this. If this was like, let's just pretend that you had that road there and you had that road there and it was like a perfect square, I'd probably mail to it because of the shape of the lot. But because it's kind of weird and chances are there's no utilities, we'll skip it. So, good job on that one. And we'll just make it red. Let's bring it on over here. Next one. Okay, Barbara King. So we got a 21 acre lot. It's got some clearing in the back. A little bit of wooded areas on the front end of it. My knee-jerk reaction is just to split this right in half. And somebody who wants to take advantage of this clearing could build a long driveway and build a house in the back. Let's take a look at what you were thinking. So you said 2. Same page there. Let's comp it. So it's 21 acre lot. And these are your comps that you chose.
I think that's the comp that I am unsure as well, but I reprice them because the flip price for sub is lesser than the flip retail price.
Yeah, so it's 110 and it's 82. So let's look at why that is. I think you grabbed a outlier. See how that's 1300 even though it's 7? Now, let's see why. So like this only sold for 10,000, but the other ones are around 50,000 combined. I also see that you grabbed a 14 acre parcel. Do you know why you grabbed a 5 and then a 14?
I'm not sure. I
Okay.
just
Okay.
got them.
Yeah, we want to be as close to that 10 acre parcel as we can. So 14 is close enough. But we are going to get rid of this one. And that brings it up to 132. Subdivide. Let's see what the retail is. 110. So now we're back. So that's what it was. It was that outlier. Okay. We might decide we want to keep these, but let's go ahead and get rid of them for now. So if we split 21 acres in half to create 2 new lots, we're going to be somewhere between 8 and 12. Let's look at the distance. Okay, so that might be why. The closest one is 15 miles away. That's no good. So what if we brought it down to 7 and 13? Okay, now we've got some ones that are a little bit closer. So let's use these. So I know that this is one of the comps that you chose. It is cleared. Okay. And our property has some clearing in the back, but it's not right on the road. So if I use this as a comp, then in my head, I know that this has to be the high end, because that lot that we would comp is a little bit better than our lot. So 7,200, I probably don't want to pick anything that's more expensive than that. So I'll grab that one. The real value there is less than a mile down the street, so it's super close. So let's look at this one. This one's wooded. It's just 2.5 acre lot. Why does it say it's a 7 acre lot? I'm going to jump to this parcel. It looks like somebody bought 7 acres and then subdivided them into these 4 different lots. Very similar. This is a good example of what it will look like after we do our work with it, right? They probably bought this big lot and then subdivided into a bunch of smaller lots. And you can see how they got creative with it too, right? You have these little lots here, and then they made a flag lot here, and a flag lot here, a flag lot here, and a flag lot there. So it's a lot of work to do that, but sometimes it might prove to be, you know, the right approach. Okay. So I just want to make sure that this also, yeah, this is a 7.6 acre lot. So this price is for sale. So you know what? When I go and I look at the purchase history, this property's throwing me off a little bit. So you know what? I don't want to use that. It's a little too weird for me. Let's look at this one. Oh, it's the same one. Sorry. Let's look. We're not going to use that. That's an outlier. This one has the pond, which drove up its price per acre value. I don't really want to use a 9,000. Let's look at this one. That's a better one. So we'll grab this. Okay, now between these two values, we get 140,000, let's call it. So we'll call this 140,000. Okay, and that should solve your discrepancy between these two prices. That was a tricky one. That was a tricky one. Oop. I'm turned around here. Are we? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. You doing all right so far?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So unsure about this one. And this was 412. So let's go back and look at what you said. Weird shape with small road frontage. It is a weird shape. So I already don't like this. But the one definitely thing that I don't like is the owner, John Dixon Brown, lives right here. He's not going to sell us this lot. If this lot was next to his land, again, like we had a lot like that yesterday, I would still mail. But because it's behind him, he's not going to want somebody to come in and build a house behind him. He probably likes his privacy. And then on top of that, it's not a really nice shaped lot. If it was like the most beautiful lot you ever saw behind him, then I would probably mail. But I don't like this lot. So for that reason, I'm going to make it red. Okay. Let's look at this one. Okay. Flat, wooded, lots of great road frontage. How many lots did you say you can make here? 4. Okay, so you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 4 is good. What did I write? I actually think you might be able to get 5 lots here, but great job being conservative with 4. So I love that. Really good job there. So if we divide 20 acres into 4 lots, we're going to get 5 acres with our new 4-lot subdivision. So let's go ahead and look. So our price was based on 2 lots that were 7 to 7.5 acres, then 1.5. If I grab, I probably would use 4 to 6 as my range. So let's see if we can add a couple more. These, oh man. Let's see. Okay, this one's cleared. It looks like they cleared a home site, and actually, looks like there's a structure back there. Let's see if it says what that is in the listing. Okay, there's mobile homes on the property, which actually is a detriment to the property because they're not inhabitable and they're not safe to enter. So whoever buys this land has to remove the mobile homes. They have to pay for the cost of extraction, which is a cost. So if I have to spend extra to do something to the land, whether it's a perk test, digging a well, or removing something from the property, that value of the property is going to go down, right? So knowing that this is somewhat of a devalued property, still went for $12,000 an acre. Wow. Let's look at this one. This is a really good comp. I really like that comp. Okay. So my average price per acre is $8,200 right now, but I don't know. I mean, the mobile homes, I suppose that there might be a septic tank, septic already approved. So it has septic. So A, that means that it's already passed a perk test, but B, there's already a septic tank available to it. So the value of removing the mobile home is sort of offset with the value of there's already a septic tank there, right? That's a bonus. So I might be inclined to use that comp now that I think of it. Let's look at these other comps that you use that were a little higher in acres. Yeah, I don't really like that one. And that one's cleared. I don't like that one either. So now we're a little higher. I think I want to look for something that's gone for a little bit low. Oh, these are active. Did this one not show up? Yeah. I wonder if I could jump to it. Okay. This one right here. I think it is. Go back. This is a tricky one. What are your thoughts? Where do you think we should be from a value standpoint? I think this is a little high.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably be inclined to go somewhere around 8 to 8,500 an acre. So if I did 800 an acre, that's going to put me at 160,000. I think 180,000 an acre I would be good, or 180,000 price would be good. And again, we're talking about, so if I price this at 200, now our offer price is 100,000 on the high end. If I price this at 180, now our offer price is 90,000 on the high end. I mean, really by offering 50% of the value, it really shrinks that discrepancy to a point where it makes it a little bit more comfortable to offer. But we're going to call this 180. You had 160, which I really like. I think we offered 80,000. We think the retail, according to you, is 90. So yeah, before we make any judgments, let's go ahead and see what the retail is for a 20-acre lot. Okay, so if I grab this, that's cleared. I can't use that. This is on the low end. I probably don't want to use that one either. Let's find something in the middle. Let's look at this one. No, that's 2. That's 3. That's got the, yeah, it's hard to comp this property. This is on the low end too. Weird shape. But now if I just want to do a quick, I want to grab something probably somewhere in the middle. I'm just going to grab this one. So that puts me at 120. It might go for a little bit higher than that. What if I went to 130? No, we'll go 120. Okay, now we're a lot closer, but at the same time, if I went 120, I could go 180 now. And that gives me a $30,000 gap between the low end and the high end. I guess the take-home message from that entire comp of that property is it's equal parts hard data, science if you want to call it, hard and fast rules, and there's a little bit of an art to it, right? And so we want to lean towards just using the data when we can, but in this example, when there's really not a lot of great data, you kind of have to make your best guess. Hopefully every 20 properties, maybe there's only 1 or 2 where you have to kind of estimate on your own, and not because the comps aren't that great. Okay. We didn't like this one. This one is in red. So let's look at 14. Not a good block. GPS guy cannot locate this. I love that. We're gonna call him a GPS guy. Okay, I agree. I mean, there is a road here, or what looks like a road, Tanglewood Road, but I actually think it turns into this guy's driveway. It's unique. That typically doesn't happen, but it does happen from time to time. So it actually looks like the road ends right there. So you could technically, if this was a road, you could tease off 3 lots. But because the GPS guy didn't track there, we know this is pretty rural. It's going to be hard to sell those lots. It does look like there's a lot of properties in the area. I'm okay with you reading this out. It's a problematic lot. It's going to require a lot of work on our end. I think we can just move on. Okay, so we see like there's in this 20 sample size, 20 lot sample size, we've already determined that 4 of those lots we're not going to mail to. That happens sometimes. You go on a run of lot after lot where you're like, oh, this lot stinks. This lot's no good. This lot has this problem. It's just the way that it works. But I'd rather do this now than to spend money to mail to those 4 lots only to find out at a later date that we don't like these lots and we don't want to buy them. So I'm good with that. All right, we're moving on. Okay, so this one's almost 22 acres. You said you could divide it into 4. There's some smaller lots here, but they're cleared. Bigger lots here. If we did 4, so we would split it in half once and then split each in half again. You probably could get 5, but you're sticking to the rule, and that is let's just be conservative and let's just say 4. Love it. Great job on determining comps there. See what it put. Good call on 4 lots. Okay. All right, so let's comp it. So now we're gonna comp it. Okay. So I'm just double checking. We're saying that the comp value is, if we divide it into 4, is 145. Okay. Let's look at your comps. Really good distance. This is all very close. I could tell you right now, well, this might be the same property. Yeah. So we only want to include that once, because watch what happens. If you have the same property multiple times, it starts to pull that average down. So we're at 145 now, but if I get rid of 1, it goes up a little bit. So maybe now I'm offering 150. Let's look at these other ones. Great comp. Oh, and then that one didn't have. But you might have decided to choose that because it was somewhere in between, which I honestly would be okay with. And this was 21, so we want to, or I'm sorry, 4 lots. So we'll go between 4 and 6 acres. There's not a whole lot that's close by. I wonder if I expanded this a little bit still. Okay, so I would be good with this. So we'll call it 150. I mean, 145, 150, it's the same. Okay, now let's look at what the value is of just the 22 acre lot as it stands. So we're going to go 15 to 25. Man, there's not a lot nearby, is there? We might have to go 13 to 27. I actually want to go on the higher end. Let's try 15 to 30. Man, there's just not a lot out there. So let's look at this. Yep. Do you have any? Okay. This is the one that had that cell tower in there. It's 25 acres. Okay. They're saying that the power pole is an advantage because it has access to power, which is one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is it's in the middle of my property. And that's not something that I really care for. So, let's see. We're going to get rid of these. So Land Insights is saying it's worth 95. We'll add that one. Let's look at this. It's that weird shaped lot again. I don't love that. And I don't love that. So it's going to be somewhere. It's going to be around that 5,000 per acre. So I'm okay with this. So we'll call it 105. You had 110. I'll leave it at 110. Good job. Really, really good job. Okay, this one says it's a weird block. Let's see what you mean by that. There was one that kind of looked like an island. Okay, so is it fair to assume that this road in the middle of it kind of threw you off? Right? Sometimes you see that for whatever reason. This person owns this. So if I were to just quickly go through the link. That, Yeah, this is saying that, yeah, this isn't a real road. The road goes this way. That's a mistake on Land Insights. I'm not sure why they're thinking that. So we're going to pretend that this isn't here because this road actually goes down here. Oh, there's nothing out here. Okay, so we know that there's no utilities. There's still a decent amount of homes. These look like mobile homes. There's an actual big home. Okay, we haven't gone over this. So this is a guy that owns a ton of properties, put some mobile homes on there, and then look at their yard. It looks like a dump. Like there's trash all over the yard. There's a bunch of cars everywhere. I would not want to buy this land because those people will be the neighbors. And that's something people think about or look at when they're buying land. They're like, well, who are my neighbors going to be? I mean, this is a big piece of land, so there's some privacy, but. And then the other thing to know is across the street, these don't look like hog farms, but some type of farm, and that could be noisy, having construction done all the time. That might be something people don't really like. So you know what? I wouldn't offer on that for that reason alone. So I'm good with that. Let's see. Okay. So what stands out to you right away about this property?
It has a huge road frontage, plus it has a water access.
Okay. What else? What is one of the features on this property that we talked about yesterday?
Dirt road. I think it's the utility.
The easement?
Yeah, easement.
So I'm not sure what that easement is. I don't see telephone wires. If I wanted to look quickly at it. Yeah, there's a telephone wire right there. And then you can see the shadow of another one. So there are telephone wires that go through there. Which might be the reason why there's nobody building there. Let's take a look. I'm not facing the right way. Yeah, there it is. So then the question begs, is this going to prevent somebody from being able to put a road in here, like a driveway? Right? Can you build across that easement? Can I drive underneath that? Which it depends on the municipality. It depends. Okay, but let's say for argument's sake that you can. Okay, let's say that we can just build homes there. You said you could build 8 lots. So let's see. If you took lots that were this size, so let's do a quick little math. 217, we'll call it 220 feet of road frontage. And then we'll measure ours. Yeah, that's almost 8. We'd call it 7. But what I would do is I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I would probably split this one in half. So we'll call it 7. I'm not convinced that we'd be able to build through that easement or that we would create a product that somebody would want to buy, because again, it's like right here. So their house is going to be almost right next to those power lines. But we'll still mail, and then we'll figure that out on the back end. So we'll call it 7. So close. We'll be a little conservative here. Now let's comp this property. So it was 22 acres. You used that basically 3-acre range. There was a 2-acre comp in here, which really drove the price. Right? Just going from 3 to 2. This is an outlier. Without even looking at this, I'm going to get rid of that. So now we're saying 3 acres, which is that sweet spot. And these are very similar, but is this the same lot? Yeah, it's the same property. 21-0 Bramlett. 21-0 Bramlett. So we want to get rid of that. So now we're kind of in that 7,000 average range, 7,500. Let's see if so if we add 22 acres and we divide it, it's going to be around that 3 acres. So we'll go, I know that we said 2 to 3. Let's go 2 to 4. Excuse me. Yeah, it's all kind of around that price range. This is an outlier, so I'm not going to use that. And then we're getting beyond 10. So these are the same 2 lots. That's a different one. That's Cooter Creek. This is Bramlett. So I'll add this one. Okay, we'll call it 160 subdivide value. Where am I? 046A. So you have 180. Close. I think it was that outlier. That 12,000 per acre one. We'll immediately get rid of that. So we'll go 160. So we're checking for outliers, right? That's going to be on our to-do list. And we're going to get through this, and then we're going to go through our SOPs, and we're going to build out so you have a better SOP after the past couple of days. Okay, and then we want to value the land itself. So it's 22 acres. Man, there's not a lot in here. I mean, sometimes that's just what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. Let's see if I expand this a little bit. This is a little closer, but not enough. We'll take a look at it. This is that weird lot. We might grab that one. That's 4. This is pretty expensive. Yep, that's why. Grab this one. Okay, we'll grab this one. So we'll call it 105,000. We had it at 110. Great job. I'm not going to change that. Really, really good job. Okay, got a couple more to get through here. Okay. Do you get the same reaction I do when you see something like this?
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, this is a good lot. Okay, we love this. I wish all the lots looked like this. It'd make my life a lot easier. Okay, so you said 4. Let's see. I'm looking at something like this. Okay, so let's measure. It's a little bit shorter of a lot. We'll find something similar distance, similar length. So you got these smaller, skinnier ones here. You could probably get away with that. But we want to get like an average. I would say this one's a good average. So let's measure that real quick. We'll call it 300 feet, give or take. So then if I go here, yeah, so probably 4. So if I just did the eye test, let's say I went 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I like 4. Did I say anything? 5 lots here, great property. 5 might be pushing it. I take that back. Okay, great property. That's such a good property. Even though it's 4 lots, I would still highlight this one green. Okay, so it's 4 lots. It's 23.4 acres, so let's comp it. So that's going to be almost 6 acres a lot. So our comp should be in that 5 to 7 acre range. So we grabbed one that was 3. That's going to be too small. So comp value was at 270. Let's see how close we can get to that by going through. We're going to go 4 to 6. And we're really going to value, well, this is the same one. So let's see how good this looks. Okay, I mean, it sold for a decent amount of money there. And our lot's better. So we'll add that one. But that's going to be on the high end. So let's look at this one. Yeah, that's a much better comp. So you're right there. What'd you say? 250? I would be inclined to offer a little bit more just because I really like this. You know, we could do 270. Let's meet in the middle. 260. And then let's comp it for the lot that it is. Probably not going to find a comp that's similar to it. I could be wrong. Actually, wouldn't you know it? Cleared. It's got some woods. It's a little bit less in acres, so that will drive up the price a little bit. This is probably going to be our best comp. So that's at 83. Let's look at the 6,800. Another really good comp. See how the land went up a little bit. I mean, these are 2 awesome comps. Awesome comps. Let's look at this one. Yeah, it's wooded. We're not going to take that one. Let's look at this one. It's the same one. Oh, here you go. That's a really good comp, and it's only... So that's going to bring it down a little bit. Or bring it up, excuse me. So now we're at 190. It's about 8,000 an acre. So we have 145, so we'll bring that one up a little bit. And don't hesitate when the land is that nice. Like, we're going to pay more for it. We have to. So when it's perfectly cleared and none of your comps are perfectly cleared, so you have to pull comps, I would always add on the other end. So let's say all the comps I pulled, this is at 8,000 an acre, but there are all the comps that were out there were wooded, and the average I got for this acreage range was 6,000. On the other end of it, once you pull the comps, I would say I got to add a little bit more because this lot's cleared, so you can bump up the price. Just like you can bring down the price here, you can bring up the price here. So now we're offering 95 to 130. Any questions or thoughts or points you want to make about any of these? Feel free to just let me know. Okay. This is an interesting lot. It's got a little road that goes through here, but I would venture to guess that that's more of a drive. Yeah, that's not a road. That's somebody's driveway. Hazel Roker Drive, and this is Hazel Estates, so they probably thought so highly of themselves they named their driveway after themselves. But let's quickly look to see if anything comes up. Yeah, so that doesn't even... Okay, we can just get to the start. Okay, so I'm going to spin around. So it's... Okay, this is kind of an old road. There might be water. I would venture to guess that there's no water here. Everything out here is well and septic, which is fine. It's probably back here. But the point is, you can't, it goes through this property, and then this person's property, they built a house, and they're really impeding on this property line. So I don't think I would want to buy this. Because then you're getting into a little bit, like, let's say these people don't know each other. Well, now if somebody buys this land and they come in and say, hey, your driveway and your cars and whatever you did here, it's on my property. I need you to remove it. Well, I'm not going to remove it. I lived here for 50 years. This is my property. And then you kind of get, and that might be an issue for a potential buyer if we bought this property. Say, I don't think, I like the property, but there's going to be issues with my neighbors. So I actually wouldn't offer this property. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. No road access, GPSK not working on the block. Let's take a look. Okay, so there's a Jones Ferry road that goes through this property. But your road access is based on your ability to get a guy there. Yeah. So I would say probably not a property we want to buy. So we'll read that out. We don't need to do much thinking on that one. Okay, we got 3 more. Okay. Kind of a funny shape, right? Probably could subdivide this into 2. So you can give yourself like one clean rectangle, and then this person's going to end up with like a funny shape. You said 2, so I'm good with that. Comp the land. Land is almost 25 acres. So divide it in half. Now you've got these. These are all very similar. So I trust. So 120 is your subdivide value. 120. Good job. Okay, now if I got rid of these, and I wanted to look at, I probably like 20 to 30 here just because it's 25. This is the closest comp. Kind of a funny shape. I'll add it. Look at this. Golf course road. So this has a house on it. This property sold 2023 for $18,000, and then it sold for another $145,000. Somebody put a house on it. That's why the value is so high. So we're not going to use that. So it's not going to be up over $5,700. There's a couple other ones that are $5,000. Let's see. Those are wooded. We'll just grab this one just to anchor it, but it's not going to be far off of our other comp. Okay, so now our comp is 49, so 120. Yeah, that's funny. So that just tells me it's not worth subdividing because the values don't change very much between a 10-acre lot and a 25-acre lot. So if that's the case, I would just do this. Just get rid of that. So that's a good point. If there's virtually no difference between the subdivide value and the value flip, just make it a 0 lot subdivision. Just zero it out, and we'll get rid of this. Because we send 2 offer letters. We send an offer letter that has 2 price points, a range. We call them range offers. And then we call them blind offers when we can't subdivide. So then it's just one price. And there's arguments out there which one's better. I think having a mix of both is always a good thing. Okay, 2 more. Oh. Oh, it's probably right next to it. So you said 3 new lots. I would agree with that. So let's comp the property. So 3 new lots on a 25-acre lot means they're about 8 acres each. You're right around that range. If we did 5 to 10, this one's high. Why is this high? It's cleared. Assuming you didn't choose that one because it's cleared. What's kind of cleared? We could choose it. But knowing that, well, it's got the pond too. Okay, good job not picking that one. This one cleared, but it is really close. But if we want to stay true to that, that's on the low end. I like your comps without even looking at them. Clear. Good. Really good. Definitely the best comp. It's about 7,000. Ours is 62. Maybe we'll get rid of this one. Yeah. So 160 we'll call it. Because I got rid of that. I'm fine with 150. We'll keep that there. And then let's look at the value of what 25 acres goes out there. $130. $130. Great job. Really well done. Okay, last one. Jeez, been a long day. What time is it right now?
8:45
Okay.
a.m.
This was a funny one. I mean, aside from the easement, this looks like an island. There's this big creek on either side. I got a kick out of this. Yeah, there's no road access, and it's just an island. It'd probably be a pretty cool lot to own, but I don't know how you'd get to it. So yeah, we're not going to offer that one. Okay. I am going to do, so it's 8:45. I'm going to do 2 comps right now in real time, and we'll see how fast it takes me. Okay, I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to go through it, and I'm just going to do it, okay?
Okay.
So this is how I do it. I want to get my screen so that it captures these things. That's all the data I need right there in that screen. And then I'll bring this over. Okay, here we go. Yeah. This looks like that other property, doesn't it? It's like we with the easement across.
I can see your screen. I mean, I just see the
Oh, I'm sorry.
clip.
We can change that. So I kind of split it like this. So I have my sheet here, and then I have this here. So this looks like that other property. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 27 acres. Hmm. I'm going to do one more. Oh, I don't want this one. This guy owns all three of these, so he might not want to sell it to us. I'm going to split that right in half, though. So what I'm doing is I'm quickly cruising through. If there is enough lots that are in the same band, I'll just grab a couple of those. Oh, this is going to be a weird one. It went down in value. So I'm not going to flip this. I'll do one more. Jeez, this is an outlier. Hmm. This is probably too big of an outlier. Lost 200. Okay. So I was able to get 4 done in like 8 minutes. Right, so again, obviously I wasn't going into like all the detail that I was going through speaking everything out loud with you. But it's like repetition, right? Like you just always kind of once you get to a point where you know what you're looking for without really having to explain it, it's gonna go that much quicker. and honestly giving yourself another week or two of this, and you're going to certainly improve your time. Okay, so today we're going to up the ante a little bit. We're going to do 30. Are you okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, honestly, look at all this landing price. We didn't read this out. I just want to check these, make sure that we don't want to buy them. Yeah, these two were no good. Okay. All right, so you're getting in the higher range, right? And then we're gonna get into the new county. So we're in Elbert County, and eventually you're gonna get into Fannin County. So you have to make that note here. Otherwise, when you put the APN in, it won't pop up. It's only the last couple ones. So real quickly, let's go through. I'm gonna get rid of this. Expand that. So we have this table, comp acreage band. Again, you saw me kind of play with it a little bit when there wasn't a lot of great comps, when it was over 10, 15 miles away. So obviously we got to...
Yeah.
What were some take-home messages from today? What were some things that we thought about? So, valuing... So, clear versus wooded.
Easement and I think corner block that can be subdivided.
Was there anything else? We have utilities.
I think when the price does not change after subdivision, you can just enter 0.
We'll call it when the range is very large, freedom to lower the high end range. And the reason we choose the high end versus the low end, of course, is we don't want to. I would much rather price it too low than price it too high. I'll go back and look at this tomorrow and we can add some other things. There were some other things that came up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back in and upload this video so that I will send that to you as well on YouTube. So now you'll have 2 videos that you can reference should you come across something similar and you want to go back and check what we discussed. Do you have any other questions for me in terms of this process or anything else related to like business-wise?
Not so far.
Okay.
Maybe if I encounter another weird block, then that's
Okay. That's fine. How are you doing so far? How do you feel about this?
It's just the pressure of getting, reprice a numerous blocks, but it takes me like 5 minutes, 4 to 5. So I just wanted to improve that as well.
Okay. Again, the most important thing right now is getting it right. Do not feel any pressure from me whatsoever to get it 100% right? Because we're learning, right? We're just learning how to do this. We learn from our mistakes, and the goal is to try not to make the same mistake twice. Sometimes that happens. We've had in the last 30 pieces of data that you've priced, we saw a wide range of like uniqueness and nuances to this whole process, which I think at the end of the day is a really good thing, because there is going to be a string of properties that are just super easy, right? And you're going to flow through those, and then you're going to get this tricky one, and it requires you a little bit more time. So I can appreciate wanting to put pressure on yourself to perform well. Understand that I'm not pressuring you to be 100% accurate on all of these. I want you to learn from it, and then in time it's just natural. You're just gonna get better. You're gonna have more reps, and it's still very early. So now you've got 30 to complete. Do you feel like this process overall is helping you, the way that we're doing this, going over it, talking through it? Okay. Is there any part of this system that you think might need a little tweaking, or something that I could be doing to make your life a little easier right now?
Right now, none.
Okay. And maybe in the future, as you really get going, it might be
easier.
Have a little bit more experience, and you'll say, hey Bill, I'd really appreciate it if you did XYZ for me and make your life easier. That's why I'm here. My goal is to make your life as easy as possible. So, okay, with that, I'm gonna end things there.